Hey guys, Alex here, and as you guys know, I am a Florida State Seminole. So, obviously, last night's game against Auburn was, like, one of the greatest nights of my life. I mean, obviously not, but in terms of sports, yeah, it was freaking amazing. I went and watched the game at Gators Dockside. That's a local restaurant chain. They specialize in wings. So, in order to keep my chair at the bar, I just kept ordering more and more wings. It was awesome being at Gators Dockside because there was so much Florida State alumni there. So it was just like being back in college. Everyone doing this at FSU, hoo. It was freaking awesome. You know, it's the whole festive atmosphere. But then you had some really obnoxious Gator fans who kept cheering SEC, especially for the first two quarters of the Auburn game. Because for the first two quarters, Auburn was up, 21-3? Eventually 21-10. So it looked like Auburn was going to win, so that's when all the Gator fans thought it was safe to start cheering for the SEC. Not sure why Gators would be, you know, why they would morph into Auburn fans. Is it just to see the SEC win? I don't get that. But, yeah. What that means is, when a Gator becomes an Auburn fan, is that we Seminoles beat the Gators twice in a season, so thanks. Anyways, yeah, that was a real nail-biter. I gotta say, Auburn was probably, that was probably like the greatest and most worthy opponent that we could have faced. You know, also Michigan State would have been a nice opponent too, but the FSU-Auburn game, like, I don't think anyone can argue that that game wasn't fantastic, especially in the last quarter. It was a great come-from-behind win by FSU. I think a lot of Auburn fans came in with the wrong mindset. They thought, you know, if they made us play for a full 4 quarters, then that they would win, because they had this mentality that FSU was only a 3-quarter team, but obviously that's not the case. And when you have athletes like Florida State, then we can go all 4 quarters. I mean, despite what Brent Musburger was saying from ESPN, he kept praising, you know, the SEC and Auburn of having quote-unquote superior athletes than Florida State and anything that the ACC has. Like, every time, like, Florida State got tackled, Brent Musburger was saying, "This is the SEC." Like, it was some kind of godly division or something. But, obviously, it's not a godly division because, well, in the Big 12, Oklahoma took down Alabama 45-31. Alabama didn't look like some godly team. Yeah, that was like the SEC's top teams. Alabama losing to Oklahoma. And, of course, Auburn losing to us, Florida State, from the ACC. So I was pretty happy about that. And yet, if you look at the top AP 10, you know, the AP's top 10, you can still see a lot of SEC bias, but, you know, you can't change that. They're going to try to implement a playoff system. Hopefully that works better. Sure, SEC's dominated the last few championships, but they didn't dominate this time. And, yeah, they didn't dominate at all. Like, most of the teams in the SEC were terrible. The Gators were terrible. Tennessee was terrible. LSU was terrible. They were all pretty much terrible except for Alabama and Auburn, and they both lost to the Big 12 and ACC, as I said. But yeah, yeah, like in the fourth quarter, once we ran that touchdown back for 100 yards, yeah, every Gator fan was silent. There were no more. They weren't cheering for SEC anymore. Sure, they scored after that, but then we scored again in the last minute, so it all made up for that. But yeah, great game to freaking Auburn. That was a freaking amazing game. And also congratulations to Clemson, who beat Ohio State in the Orange Bowl. That was another fantastic game. Clemson was I believe the second-ranked team from the ACC. But yeah, what are your opinions on the BCS Bowl? What are your opinions on the FSU Auburn game? And are you a UF turncoat? Or not a turncoat. Are you a UF fan who just threw your support behind the SEC? Like pretty much all my fans who were SEC fans, they were all pulling for Auburn. Whatever. That just means we beat all of you guys. That's fantastic. But yeah. Yeah, I believe Eric Carthage is a huge Oklahoma fan. He might be an alumni, too, of Oklahoma, I believe. I forgot. But, Eric, congratulations to your team. And, FSU, congratulations. Very proud of my school. So, yeah, I remember leading up to this game, you know, FSU was getting a lot of hate. People were saying, who has FSU played? Why do they deserve to be number 1 or number 2, whatever? Well, prior to getting even this, you know, prior to these bowl games being announced, we beat Miami, who was number 7 at the time. We beat them 41-14. We beat Clemson, number 4, 51-14. And we also beat Maryland, who was number 25, but it was a convincing score, 63-0. I mean, how much proof do you need that Seminoles were awesome? Like, every one of their games were blowouts. And yeah, of course, we beat the SEC's top team. Close game, but we still beat them. So, yeah, lots of pride in the Seminoles. And, yeah, hopefully this SEC bias doesn't continue, because ESPN's commentators, for the most part, were very biased towards the SEC. They kept cramming down my throat, like every viewer's throat, that the SEC and Auburn has better, they have better tacklers, better hitters, better athletes in general. I mean, they actually said they have better athletes than FSU. They even said that when we played against UF. Even though UF was terrible, they were saying, you know, UF might not be that good, but they're still SEC, so watch out, Seminoles. And we beat the Gators. What was that score? It was 37-7. Even after that, they're still raving about the SEC. And you know, after we beat Auburn, I'm sure they're still going to be raving about the SEC. Whatever. I guess we might not have better athletes, but I guess we had a better team. I guess better season, better everything. Oh, but not better athletes, of course. Whatever. ESPN can go suck my. I'll see you guys later.